What's up, vape family? This is Max from Texas. I'm doing a review on the Maven real quick here. I just want to give you guys a general look over. Not everybody's get to see this mod or feel it or touch it or play with it. Stacy just recently announced that he was going to be doing a list pretty soon here. And the first time I saw this exact mod was at Vape Summit in Las Vegas. Got to hold it and play with it there. A friend of mine that just recently became friends with a few months back actually won this in an auction there. Stacy auctioned off his prototypes to help fund the project so that he could make more mods for you guys without having to take large down payments to help fund his project. So he invested his time and money in these to make these for you guys without having to beg for money or ask to get funded. If you don't know Stacy already, I've been digging his drip tips for a while now. Modish has been there for a while, and I've enjoyed their tips since I first saw them. But I digress on that. Great stuff from the beginning, in other words. He's been a modder, he's supplied, he's done his due diligence to the community, he's been there until this point, and he decided to come out with his own mod. And he's not doing a rushed thing with this. I spoke with him on the phone a few weeks back to talk about the mod and then the upcoming release and the differences between the production model and the prototype. The prototype is fucking amazing. I've had a lot of prototypes in my hands, played with them, and I am by far the most impressed with this one. There are some things that some hurdles he's going to have to get over with this mod, but those are things that he's addressing. He's not hidden about it. He's a very honest person. He'll answer your PMs and be there with you the whole way. I'm enjoying that about Stacy. The wood selection on these is just phenomenal. I don't know for certain, and I forgot to ask Stacy if this is Corey's wood, but I know that the upcoming release model is going to be Corey's wood, from my understanding. Some people had addressed that they didn't like the fact that there was no tackies for up and down control. Also, without the tackies, you won't have control of the power modes that this chip offers. It's set in powerful mode, and it stays in powerful mode. You get used to it. It auto flips on the screen. You can still get into certain settings on it. You just can't adjust those modes in the chip menu. To say that he skipped anything on it, I don't. That's not what's happening. He didn't forget, in my opinion, anything when he made this mod. You always get a mod in your hands and you compare it to others. If you've owned the highest or what's considered the highest device on the market, then you always compare everything from there down to that. And say, well, it doesn't have this, or doesn't have this, or doesn't have that, or there's little imperfections here or there. I feel like to compare this to some of my higher stuff, it's in the same bracket or better. I feel like even the back sides of the wood where the frame is, this is a solid piece of steel here, not aluminum, and this thing is not heavy. I have a scale here right now. I can drop it on it and tell you the ounce with an addy and a battery. You're looking at 11.5 ounces on my scale. And say, for example, I have a Tesseract, which is a smaller C-frame, 18650 battery. That's going to weigh out at around 10.4 for an 18650 mod. Also, like a Maximus mod, we'll throw that on the scale real quick. That's 11 ounces for a Maximus. It's in the same range. It's a little bit bigger, a little wider, but we're not talking about this mod at all. We're talking about this. But just as a comparison of weight and size, It's a very light mod for being very large, extremely strong structurally. If you see that on the if you see the photos of it on his website, you'll be able to see all the internals on his Facebook page. He shows how this is assembled. From my understanding and speaking with him, the frame on this stainless steel took around 6 hours machine time. I mean, you're talking at minimum $700, six something, roughly. I'm not a machinist, so I'm not going to get into the specifics of that, but rough estimate, $600–700 just on the machining of this frame. Very, very extensive work. And the wood fitment, it's hard to really show you seams and how this fits around every edge of this stainless steel frame. You can see it laying shadows on that frame. You're gonna see from this point here to this point here that the wood is seamed exactly the same, and that this has whatever mil, a thousandth of a mil above where the seam is just bumped right over the top of it, so you're not touching steel unless you reach in to touch it. It's got the wood just curled right over the frame there. It does it over the top and over the front. And I've got the Meb Addy on here, which is a pretty dope atomizer here, guys. Also works great with this mod. I spoke with him about the tolerances, because you can see the amount of work. Let me go ahead and pop this off. Got a crazy caps from my boy Cac right there. Beautiful wood, matching wood, a Bograd on there. And you can see the seam work that's around the top there. Just phenomenal. This wood had to be cut and shaped around every individual piece. And then factoring in, a lot of people don't consider that this wood was a living tree, and it likes to warp. Heat affects it, moisture affects it. He had to consider all those factors when making this. This mod is now a couple of months old. I would probably say 4 or 5 months old, and I'm in Texas, high moisture. I'm not seeing any kind of warping or anything pulling back from it. I don't abuse my mods, though. I don't leave them in hot cars. I don't take them out to the beach. I do use them daily. I use my stuff. I use all of my mods. I don't care what it is. And I'm not seeing any warpage, anything pulling away from the steel frame. It's got this really cool signature 510 here. This was one of the features that Stacy was making a big part of this mod being made, was to have this 510, so that if you have a Genesis atomizer and you need to tilt when you vape so that you get good juice feed going up through your Addy, you need the airflow hole where you need it. It has to be in the right spot. Or if you're picky about on a dripper where your air holes sit, or where the logoing on your Addy is, it's fully adjustable. You've got 2 pins here on this this brass piece right here. I didn't pre-loosen this ahead of time before this video, but it's fairly simple to do. You do have to use a pair of pliers on this, though. Little needle nose pliers do it. I spoke with Stacy about making sure that he can, or trying to produce some sort of tool that's given with this mod, so that you don't have to risk slipping off with a pair of pliers and scratching any of this surface area up here. A little bit of Addy swirl is easy to get rid of with a Brillo pad or scrubbing cloth, you know. But a phenomenal adjustable 510. Inside it's got an Allen head in here. It's very, very hard to see on the camera. I'm sure you can see it right there. The lighting, yeah, there it is. So that's going to be an Allen head adjustable 510, just like most of the other mods, except for their flatheads. This is Allen. I'm cool with Allen's. Battery cap on the bottom. He's going to supply with the mod when you get it. You're going to get 2 separate little copper threaded battery adjusters in here. The overhang on this is impeccable. I can run green. I can run the green E-Fest, or I can run. I'm running an M&KE in here right now. Inside this tube. Very clean. You can see the chip there, but you can also see that the 510 is segregated. So the very top part, you can look down up inside that tube. I don't have good lighting to where I can show you that fully, but Inside the top of there is going to be a it's a Delrin insulation or plastic insulation around the bottom of that 510, so that it keeps any of the juice or anything that's coming up in there. It's all fully segregated away from where your chip is. You don't have to risk any juice getting down on the chip or damaging anything. Very, very clean on the inside. Very easy to seam up. The threading on this large cap, no grinding, no chinking around. Feels awesome. I've never had to put a tool on it, no matter how tight I got it, no matter what battery was in it, no matter if I cross-threaded or kind of cross-threaded, nothing. It always threaded for me. Never had issues. So we'll talk about the front area now. What makes this look so clean or so good is the gaps. He said that all the gaps around this frame are within 3,000ths on as far as machining specs go. So, like naked eye clean, basically. Also this button. And this is what really caught my eye, was the button. You can hear the sound on it. Just a little tacky, nice and clean. But the seam on that is just nearly perfect. It's really hard to catch that in the light, but you can see how perfect that is there. It sits flush. You can barely feel it. And another thing that he thought about was, we talked about it, was like on the button will never rotate. The button's set in a channel here, and it's brushed. This is a brushed finish. So all the brush marks on brush mods run up and down, or left and right, however you feel. Most are up and down. And so this button will never rotate and never change the way that brushed finish is. So it looks like seamless one piece of metal. You wouldn't want this button to rotate, and then you'd have left and right machining marks versus the up and downs. But a very phenomenal mod. I'm extremely blessed to have this in my possession, or to even use it. Stacy wanted me to post a review for you guys to show you how great it was and how much I loved it, as I was telling him how great it was. But you will have the ability to change the modes on the new version. From my understanding, the buttons are going to be in the bottom here, in the wood. It's gonna look sexy. That's all subject to change. That's Stacy's mod, and what he's going to do with it is his thing. But he will keep you guys posted through the group. I'm very excited to be able to get one day, a production model. I love my prototype. The way that it fits in your hand is phenomenal. This little curvature on the back is made to sit right here in the crevices on the back of your forefinger. So it's a great thumb fire. Really good thumb fire. Also, it'll sit in the back of your hand, right here in this crevice in the back of your hand, if you're a finger fire guy. Whatever way you choose to do it. I personally am not a big fan of tilt power. Tilt power is not my thing. I like the tacky buttons for changing the wattage. I don't like the tilt feature. It's annoying for me, but it works on this mod great. It works on all the other SXs. It works on this mod. It vapes great, just like any other SX mod should. No glitches in the chip. The wiring's clean. It's done right. Great atomizer too. Not a review for that though, but good work from him. You guys can look out for this soon. He'll be releasing it on his group. I hope you guys like the review of this. It's just I know it ended up being about 13 minutes, but it's a lot to talk about on why this is different than something else being released on the market. The way that he's doing the list is different. The way that he's running everything is different. He's an American mod maker. Hashtag America. We want to support our boys making mods, making dope shit, and continue to make more dope shit. I hope that he comes out with a smaller version, 18650, or maybe does some crazy shit. I mean, it's all up to Stacy. This was his whole idea. I get some crazy battery life out of this thing. It's very efficient. It works well. The wiring is clean. It never gets warm. No matter how much I vape it, it just does its job very well. It's extremely unique. This is not going to be a high production mod. He is not going to be releasing a lot of these units. It's just, it costs too much to make this unit. But keep an eye out on the group, and I hope I answered some people's questions about this mod, or at least gave them a little bit of a better close-up look of it. I feel like what he's asking for his price is more than fair for the quality of this. I don't see anything on here that would make me question what he's asking for it. It is I believe it's the second highest, or I mean the Law Box I think was the highest RRP I've ever seen released on a mod. I think it's the second highest RRP or wholesale price on a mod. But I would easily pay what Stacy's asking for this mod. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching my video. Any questions, please post below, and I'd love to help, and I'm sure Stacy will answer questions and anyone else that's been involved. Big shout out to my boy Cac. Thank you for having a chance to use this mod and be with it. Phenomenal. Alright guys, much love to all of you. Talk to you soon.